Rune Fehu. Possession, support, livestock. Upright position. Fehu, the rune of abundance, signifies satisfied ambition, reciprocal love, rewards received. Fehu promises support on all levels, from the most earthly to the most sacred and divine. As the ancient principle, as above so below, aligns with reality, we are here to offer support to the divine. This rune calls for a deep analysis of the meaning of acquisition and gain in your life. Understand what is more essential for your well-being, wealth and possessions, or self-mastery and strengthening of will. Another aspect of Fehu is the preservation of what has been achieved. It urges vigilance and constant attention, especially in times of success. During such periods, you may either rest on the laurels of your own success or act recklessly. Enjoy your success and remember to share it with others. A well-mannered ego is characterized by the ability and willingness to support others. Reversed position. Drawing Fehu in a reversed position suggests significant disruptions in your life, a loss ranging from minor to severe. Your efforts won't reach their goal, and you may grasp for something only to face failure. You'll have to stand still, helplessly, as you've acquired slips away. Observe what is happening. Consider these events impartially and with a future-oriented perspective, asking yourself, what life lessons must I draw from this? Even if there is a reason for joy, don't let yourself be deceived into foolish merriment. In a reversed position, this rune points to an abundance of dubious situations manifesting in various forms. Here you come into contact with the shadow side of possession. However, all of this is just part of the passing, not the permanent. Dealing with the shadow side of Fehu provides a fortunate chance to discover what genuine support truly entails. The rune Uruz symbolizes strength, power, courage, femininity, and the wild ox. When drawn in the upright position, it signifies a transformative phase, urging you to let go of the old form of life for a new one to emerge. This rune is part of the initiatory cycle, involving positive growth and changes that might entail delving into darkness as part of the eternal renewal process. Amid current events, you might experience an inner death, but remember that embracing change is a choice, and the new form of life is always better than the previous. Be prepared for hidden opportunities beneath the guide of losses. Loss, whether of someone or something deeply emotionally attached, signifies a part of your life that needs reclaiming for personal growth. Uruz symbolizes by the wild ox, teaches adaptability to the demands of a constructive moment. Balancing steadfast principles with humility is crucial, as leadership involves service. Uruz reminds you that both your soul and the universe support the transition to a new stage of development. In a reversed position, heed the warning. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. He who has eyes to see, let him see. Ignoring this principle may lead to missed opportunities or a weakened position. It might feel as if your own strength is working against you. For some, the reversed Uruz serves as a caution, suggesting ways to minimize losses and hardships. Others may find it unsettling due to lower awareness. Reflect seriously on the quality of your relationship with your own self. Consider the continuous cycle of death and rebirth, the perpetual rhythm of departures and returns. Embrace the darkness, for in great depths you become a seeker of pearls. Thurisaz, gate, a place of non-action, the god Thor. Upright position. As the symbol of this rune is gates, it indicates the need for both inner and outward directed work. Thurisaz represents the boundary between the celestial and the mundane. Reaching this boundary is an acknowledgement of your readiness to engage with the noumenal, with the divine, ready to fill your experience with light to the extent that its meaning shines through its form. Thurisaz is a rune of non-action, therefore one cannot approach the gates and pass through them without a period of waiting. Here you are confronted with a clear reflection of what is hidden within you, what needs to be uncovered and properly assessed before the opportunity arises to take the right action. This rune strengthens your ability to wait. Now is not the time to make decisions. This penultimate rune of the initiatory cycle signifies the action of deep transformative forces. Imagine yourself standing before the gates atop a hill. Your entire life is behind you and below. Before stepping through these gates, pause for a moment and look back at the past. The learnings and joys, victories and defeats, all have brought you here. Consider it all, bless it all, release it all, or only by letting go of the past do you reclaim your power. Now step through the gates. Reversed position indicates acceleration of your development, but even in periods of intense growth, there will be occasions to pause on the path, reconsider the old, integrate the new, take advantage of such pauses. If you encounter difficulties, remember, the nature of your movement depends on the quality of your own position, the sincerity of your intentions, and the steadfastness of your will. Have confidence that you do not suffer from your own sufferings. Drawing the reverse Thurisaz requires reflection from you. In this period, hasty decisions may lead to regret, as there is a possibility that you will act impulsively, be deceived by your own impulses, and create new, much more complex problems than the ones you are trying to resolve. Impulses must be tempered with care for the correctness of the course of action. Do not attempt to exit where you have not yet entered. Maintain calmness, self-control, and trust in the will of the heavens. Ansuz, signs, the rune of the messenger, the god Loki. Upright position, messages, signs, gifts. These are the key to understanding the meaning of this rune. Even timely warnings can be considered a gift. When the messenger rune brings news of a sacred nature, it is truly a blessing for you. The message may herald the beginning of a new life. A new life begins with new encounters, amazing connections that guide us on a new path. Now is the time to ensure that you are aware of what is happening during gatherings, visits, chance encounters, especially with people wiser than yourself. Loki, the trickster of the ancient Norse pantheon, he's also Heyeoka of the North American indigenous peoples, the shadow jester of the creator god, but at the same time the one who bestows blessings upon humanity. Even outright scoundrels and rogues can be bearers of wisdom. When this rune appears, expect surprises. A message is always a call to a new life. Ansuz is the first of the 13 runes forming the initiatory cycle. Runes whose immediate focus is the mechanism of self-improvement. Thus, Ansuz indicates the need to reunite unconscious impulses and conscious intentions. The appearance of Ansuz suggests that the movement of unity with the divine is approaching. It is a sign to cast a keen eye inward, to the very foundations of existence, and to know the inexhaustible divine source with your nature. At the same time, you are reminded that first and foremost, having drawn from this nurturing source of support, you must saturate yourself. Then there will be more than enough left to saturate others. This rune is cloaked in the aura of a new mood of family unity for you. Reversed position. You may be troubled by what appears to you as a lack of information. a lack of clarity of awareness. Either in your past or in the present moment, you may feel as though something is preventing you from agreeing to accept what is offered. You may be overwhelmed by a sense of your own uselessness, the futility of your motivations. Nevertheless, remember, everything that happens in the process of your development happens in due time. If the well is polluted, now is the time to clean it from the debris of the past. The reversed Ansuz tells you, consider the benefits of difficulties. Raido. Journey, communication, union, reunion. Upright position. This rune pertains to communication, harmonizing something that has two sides, two components, into the ultimate reunion that occurs at the end of this journey, when what is above and what is below become one and gain a single mind. Currently, there is an increasing sense of self-worth. During this period, you do not rely on your own strength. Instead, ask yourself what the right action is. Inquire through prayer or meditation by turning to this higher self, your inner teacher. If you are pure, you can overcome your reluctance to allow the right action to flow through you. Do not strive for movement. Be content with waiting. While you wait, work on eliminating resistance. As obstacles leave your path, so do any pangs of consciousness stemming from attempts to make what cannot happen occur. As always, the journey leads to self-healing, self-transformation, and reunion. In this case, you're interested no less in a favorable, perfect union. But the union of heaven and earth cannot be forced. Balance any excess in your life. Material prosperity should not dominate in this journey from ego to self. Keep yourself apart even from those who think like you. The notion that strength lies in quantity does not meet the requirements of this moment, as this part of the journey of the soul, cannot be accomplished on shares with anyone. With its contours, Raido, another rune of the initiatory cycle, is to some extent similar to the rune of joy. As the end of the journey is now visible, the burden of what is left behind no longer weighs heavily. The heavens above your head and the earth beneath your feet unite within you to support you on your path. The simplest prayer for the journey of the soul is the words, "Thy will be done through me." Such a form of prayer of intention is suitable for any situation and is especially good as a preamble to healing. Reversed position. Drawing the inverted Raido reminds you of the need to be particularly attentive to personal relationships. Currently, ruptures are more likely than reconciliations, and maintaining a good mood may require effort. Whatever happens, how you react depends solely on you. The demands dictated by your movement can completely destroy all your previous intentions. You may not get desired results. Nevertheless, what you perceive as detours, inconveniences, obstacles, and even as a collapse and the end of everything, will actually turn into timely and favorable opportunities, whose sole purpose is to facilitate unity and reconciliation. Kano. Revelation, Fire, Torch. Straight position. This is the rune of revelation, renewed clarity, designed to dispel the darkness that has enveloped a certain part of your life. Now you're free to receive gifts and experience the joy of giving without attachment. Kano. The rune of the beginning of activity, seriousness, clear intention, and concentration, which together and individually are necessary at the beginning of any effort. The patronage of Kano, which is one of the 13 runes of the initiatory cycle, is as follows. The more light you have, the better you can see what you are doing becoming trivial, but has become outdated. In relationships, mutual revelation may now occur, which you are capable of initiating and setting in motion by your awareness that the light of understanding is now again available to both of you. It should be understood that while on the one hand you're limited and dependent, on the other you exist in a state of perfect center, where harmonious and grace-filled forces of the universe are gathered and radiate. You are the center. Put simply, if before you were operating in darkness, now there is enough light to see. The patient on the operating table is no one else but yourself. Reversed position. It should be expected that the light will dim in any situation, in any relationships. Perhaps a friendship will fade, a partner will cease, a marriage will disintegrate, an aspect of your ego will wither away, ceasing to correspond to the personality you are becoming. This reversed rune speaks of the end of a certain sphere of being, and draws your attention to the fact that the price of not being ready to consciously accept this end will be the loss of a favorable opportunity. The reversed Kano requires a willing abandonment of the old and readiness to live with emptiness inside for some time. It insists on the development of internal stability and warns against the temptation to stick with the inertia of old ways while waiting for the new, which will become clear when its time comes.
Gebo, partnership, gift. The extraction of this rune serves as an indication that some kind of partnership relationships are about to enter your life. Whether it is romantic relationships, business relationships, or other kinds of collaboration, you are warned that this union should not be too close on your part. After all, truly partner relationships can only be maintained by independent and whole beings who, even entering into your union with someone, maintain their separateness. Do not forget to leave the winds of heaven space to dance between you. At the same time, there is another side to partnership relationships that you should keep in mind. The path of partnerships can lead you to an even greater union. A union with the higher self, a union with the divine. The highest gift of this rune is the realization of the presence of the divine in everything, for God always enters only into equal partnership relationships. Gebo, the rune of partnership, does not have a reversed position since it symbolizes the gift of freedom from which all other gifts flow. Wunjo, joy, light, direct position. This rune is a fruitful branch. The period of hard work is over. You have, in a sense, come into your own. The necessary changes have occurred. You can now freely use the blessed gifts of Wunjo, no matter what area of your life they relate to material gain, emotional state, or an increase in your own well-being. This is an alchemical stage where the transmutation of knowledge into understanding occurs. Knowledge itself was a necessary but insufficient condition, and now you can rejoice by the will of the heavens having overcome this confinement. A state of joy accompanies new energy that was previously blocked. Light breaks through the clouds and lightly touches the waters, as if something beautiful emerges from the depths. The soul is illuminated from within, from where the earth and the sky are united, where the waters merge into one. New clarity comes, which may require you to abandon existing plans, aspirations, and goals. By rejecting them, you will act timely and correctly, because Wunjo is a rune of restoring the ego, properly raised to the level of self. Reversed position. fruits do not ripen overnight. The process of birth is long and difficult, and there are fears of the safety of the child inside. A crisis close, a difficult stage of the journey, even if it is temporary. Attention and caution are required. Ask yourself whether you have such qualities as seriousness, sincerity, and inner emptiness. To possess them means to experience calmness, which is the foundation of patience, clarity, and perseverance. Seen in its true light, everything is a test. Therefore, know that by focusing on the present, sincerely relating to others, and trusting yourself, you cannot fail. During periods of personal crisis, the reversed Wunjo is a sign worth reflecting on. Hagalaz, destruction, natural forces, hail. Change, independence, inventiveness, and liberation. These are all attributes of the rune Hagalaz. Its extraction points to an urgent need from the depths of the soul to liberate oneself from the restrictive identification with material reality and to immerse oneself in the world of archetypal consciousness. A rune of elemental destruction, events that are entirely beyond your control. Hagalaz has only a direct position, yet it always acts through opposites. When you extract this rune, expect destruction, as it is the Great Awakener, although the forms of awakening can be different. You may feel as if you are gradually coming to your senses, as is often the case when awakening from a long sleep. But on the other hand, the force of the onslaught may be such that it shreds the fabric of what you previously took for your reality. Your protection, your confidence, your safety, your understanding of yourself, your work, your relationships with someone, or your beliefs. Destruction takes many forms. Relationships fall apart, plans come unstuck, the nourishing source dries up. However, do not be discouraged. Whatever caused this destruction, whether it was you or some outside influence, you're not powerless in this situation. Your inner strength, the strength of will you have accumulated to this point in your life, provides support and guides you during the period when you question everything you previously took for granted. The term radical rupture best describes the highest manifestation of Hagalaz's action. Another of the runes of the initiatory cycle. The more brutally the destruction in your life, the more significant and timely your need for growth. The universe and your own soul needs you to truly grow. In this original, a play on words, reversal, simultaneously the reversed position of the rune, and complete change, complete rearrangement. Nauthiz, need, constraint, suffering, direct position. The necessity of learning to deal with harsh coercion is the lesson that Nauthiz presents. This rune shows us both the obstacles that we create for ourselves and those that come from the outside world. Both can be equally difficult to deal with. The task of Nauthiz lies in identifying your shadow, your area of darkness or suppression, that is, the area of developmental delay, which results in weakness, often projected onto others by us. This world should not be taken subjectively, says Nauthiz. Work with shadow, think about what is in your nature that attracts difficulties and failures into your life. When you can finally look at the rune of coercion with a smile, you will realize that all troubles, rejections, life failures are your teachers, guides, and allies. The current need for self-control does not raise questions. The extraction of this rune indicates the possibility of delays or the appearance of reasons to carefully reconsider your intentions. Undoubtedly, you will have to work on yourself, so accept this challenge, don't get discouraged, and show perseverance. It is time to settle all debts, restore balance if not harmony, so fix, restore, compensate. When fishermen cannot go to the sea, they mend their nets. Let forced delays serve the cause of improving your relationship with yourself. Remember that progress must be preceded by rectification. And as always, think about the positive aspects of difficulties. Reverse position. As one of the runes of the initiatory cycle, Nauthiz acts as a great teacher, hidden behind the mask of the one who brings suffering and limitation. As it was said, only in the darkest moments do we realize that there is light inside us, thanks to which we come to an understanding of the true creative power of the ego. When you refuse to recognize something that is within you, the acknowledgement becomes destructive. In this case, purification and atonement are necessary. By doing so, you become stronger in will and character. Start with the most difficult and then move on what is easier to handle. Or, conversely, start with something simpler and then deal with the most difficult. Either way, remember that suffering in its original sense only means enduring. Thus, you're required to endure the dark stage of your path and bring the experience you have gained into the light. To restrain your anger, to control your impulses, to keep the firmness of faith, that is your task now. Restraint and a good mood are what matter most in such a difficult period. Isa, stop, loss, ice. In your spiritual life, winter is coming. You may find that you are tangled in a situation whose true meaning you cannot see. You may feel powerless to do anything other than submit, yield, even sacrifice some long-cherished desire. Be patient, as this is a period of hidden development preceding a new birth. Successful progress is unlikely now. Your useful activities are constrained by ice. The implementation of all plans is on hold. You may experience an unusual loss of energy and wonder why this is happening. It is the cold wind from the ice-covered fields of your old, outdated habits. The results of trying to hold on to the old may be emotional emptiness, a feeling of losing the connection of being with reality. Try to identify what you're holding on to and what contributes to maintaining this state. Drop it, let go, cleanse yourself of the old. Such action will bring a thaw. Usually, Isa requires a person to sacrifice the personal, to give up ego personality. At such a time, you cannot hope for and rely on help or friendly support. Nevertheless, there is no reason for concern. Show humility and resilience, as what is happening to you is not necessarily the results of your actions or habits. Rather, it is a consequence of conditions that you cannot change. What was full must become empty. What was growing must decline. This is the way of heaven and earth. To submit means to show courage and wisdom. However, this is another side to the stop. As winter is a time for going inside, the extraction of Isa can indicate a period of recovery and renewal at the deepest level. While in your solitude, be cautious and do not try to stubbornly and persistently exert your will. Remember that the seed of the new lies in the shell of the old, that it is the germ of unrealized potential, the germ of good. Trust your own movement and expect signs of spring. Jera is the time of harvest, 1 year. A rune of favorable outcomes. Jera is connected to any activity or effort. However, It's essential to understand that immediate results shall not be expected. Usually, some time must pass for this. Therefore, 1 year are the key words symbolizing the full cycle of time preceding the harvest, the crops gathering, or liberation. You have already prepared the soil and sowed the seeds. Now you shall take care of them carefully. For those whose work is long-lasting and will not end soon, Jera gives hope for success. Know that the outcome is in the hands of Providence and continue to work diligently. Remember the ancient parable of the farmer who was so eager to speed up the growth of his crops that he got up at night and pulled the shoots upward. There is no way to make the river flow faster, just as you are unable to bring the harvest time closer. Remember, it is patience that is necessary to understand the course of your own development, thanks to which, in due time, you will reap your own self. Eiwaz, Protection, Repelling Forces, Yotri. When we are faced with trials, we gather our forces to prevent blockage and defeat. At the same time, we develop in our souls an internal rejection of behavior that generates stress in our lives. If an obstacle appears on your way, keep in mind that even a delay can be beneficial. Don't rush forward too aggressively, because now is not the time or the situation where you will achieve tangible results through your actions. Ehwaz advises to be patient, no feverish actions, no forced actions, no regrets about the outcomes. This rune speaks of difficulties that may mark the beginning of a new life. It often heralds a period of waiting. It takes time for the source to be filled with water, for the fruits to ripen on the branches. Persistence and foresight are needed now. The ability to foresee the consequences of one's actions in advance is a distinguishing characteristic of a wise person. Anticipate potential difficulties through the right action, says this rune. After all, we must be the ones who decide, even more so than those who act. When the decision is conscious, the action requires no effort, as then the universe itself supports our action and gives it the opportunity to be realized. By drawing the Eiwaz rune, you must remember that development occurs through anxiety and discomfort. This can be a difficult period. Undoubtedly, it is very important. Therefore, tidy up your home, do business, be sincere, and rely on the will of heaven. Perth, Initiation, what is hidden, Upright Position. An hieratic or mysterious rune, Perth indicates what is beyond our weak ability to do. This rune resides in the realm of heaven, the incomprehensible, and is associated with the phoenix, a mystical bird that burns itself and then is reborn from its own ashes. The paths of Perth are mysterious and unfathomable. Here, deeply hidden internal, transformative forces are at work. Even what has already been achieved is not easily or willingly shared. A certain integrity is implied, but it may be hidden under a guise. Be unrecognizable or be a puzzle. Ultimately, becoming whole, as well as the ways of becoming so, is a deep secret. In the earthly or worldly plane, you may well encounter surprises, receive benefits or rewards that you did not expect in any way. In terms of human nature, this rune symbolizes the flight of the eagle, a flight that is directed upwards, unbound, lifting you above the endless stream of changes for the worse, above the flow of everyday life, towards the expansion of the boundaries of perception. That is the demand of this moment. As another rune of the initiatory cycle, Perth expresses the intensely experienced aspects of dedication. Nothing external matters. except how it matters to you. This rune relates to the deepest layers of your own being, the fundamental principles on which our fate rests. Perth symbolizes, in a way, the experience of death. If necessary, let everything go, without any objections or exceptions. The map is set for the rebirth of the spirit. No more, no less. Inverted position. Advised not to have excessive hope and to not rely on the old tried and tested path, because the old path is coming to an end. You simply cannot repeat what has already been passed, and it is unacceptable to do so. Gather your wasted strength, concentrate on your own life, on what is currently required for your own development. No less importantly, Perth advises you neither to focus on the consequences nor to limit yourself with an attachment to memories of past achievements, because by doing so you deprive yourself of the true present, the only time in which self-change can be realized. You may find yourself exhausted by an endless series of obstacles that are piling up in your path. However, you always have a choice. You can see these negative manifestations as a bad omen, or you can realize them as a series of obstacles, as a test characteristic of the initiation that you are currently going through. In the second case, every failure, every humiliation becomes a test of your character. When your inner essence is in the process of change and transformation at a deep level, patience, steadfastness, and perseverance are required. Therefore, adhere to the golden mean. Do not lose your sense of humor and remain firm in your faith. Algiz. Protection, reed, elk. Upright position. Your task is self-control. In transitional periods of changing course in life and intense self-change, it is extremely important not to close yourself in the sphere of your own emotions, both elevated and base. This rune symbolizes new favorable opportunities and new difficulties, and there may be abuses and unwanted actions. For a spirit warrior, for one who always battles with themselves, Algiz serves as a kind of mirror. The warrior's protection is like the curved horns of an elk or the warning rustle of a reed. Both equally guard the space around you. Always remember that only timely right action and behavior that is appropriate to the circumstances are your only true defense. If you find that you're experiencing suffering, observe this suffering, focus your attention on it. There is no need to drop the curtain and run away from life, denying what is happening. You will move forward. Awareness of this is your protection. Inverted position. Be attentive to your health. Do not give additional trouble to others. Pay attention to the associations that arise for you at the moment. If you see that you're ready to fall under the influence of people who use you, realize this fact and take responsibility for your own position. You will only benefit from this. However, regardless of whether your bold venture is thriving or going through a period of difficulty, you should not experience excessive interest. You may not win, but in any case, you will not lose, because what is happening can always be a lesson for you. Moderation and courtesy are the driving forces behind the protective properties of this rune. Sowelu. Integrity, life, force, solar energy. Sowelu symbolizes the integrity that your nature requires. This rune embodies the striving for self-realization and indicates the path that you must follow, not for any reasons, but by virtue of your individuality. The striving for integrity is the task of the spirit warrior, but you're by nature already who you aspire to become in reality. Recognize your own essence and clothe it in form, directed along the path of creation. a rune of great power opening access to vital forces. Sowelu signifies a period of regeneration down to the cellular level. Although this rune does not have a reversed position, there is a reason to be cautious. You may recoil or even choose to retreat when faced with the pressure of circumstances, especially if they are events or people that demand greater energy expenditure from you at the moment. It shall be known that such a retreat is the retreat of the strong, a journey inward undertaken for the sake of concentration and balance. The ability to retreat in a timely manner is among the arts of the spirit warrior. Sowelu advises you to open up, to let light into that part of your life which was previously hidden, restricted. Following the advice may require deep awareness, as a result of which you will recognize something from which you have long disassociated yourself. Here is a prayer known as the Gayatri, which conveys the spirit of the rune of integrity, addressed the sun as follows. You, who are the source of all power, whose rays illuminate the whole world, illuminate also my heart, so that it too can do your work. While reading the Gayatri, mentally visualize streams of sunlight pouring into the world, entering your heart, and then pouring out from its center, rushing back into the world. This is a powerful and life-affirming prayer. And here is a warning. Do not allow yourself to become elated at this moment. Even in the periods of abundant energy, you need to face and overcome your unwillingness to allow right action to flow through you. Cultivate this quality, as it is a sign of true humility. Practice the art of non-action. Intend sincerely, and then maintain your intention without effort, without resorting to manipulation. Consider the words of Christ. I can do nothing of myself. John 5:30. Because we do nothing by our own power, even when we are in love. It is love that loves through us. Such a mindset and way of life integrates new energies and gives us the opportunities for smooth attainment of integrity, which is the ultimate goal of the spirit warrior.
Teiwaz, warrior, Tyr, sky god. Upright position. This is the rune of the warrior spirit. The battle of the warrior of the spirit is always a battle with the ego. To gain through action, but without attachment to outcomes. Constantly remembering that all we truly can do is not stand in our way and allow the will of the heavens to flow through us. These qualities are among the distinguishing marks of the warrior of the spirit. The energy embodied in this rune is the energy of insight, akin to the quality of a sword that helps you cut away in the obsolete, the dead, the alien. However, along with the rune of the warrior comes the steadfast knowledge that the universe always makes the first move. Patience is the virtue of this rune, and it calls to mind the words of Saint Augustine, that the reward for patience is patience. Now is the time to look inward, to search at the level of the deep foundations of your very existence. Only by doing so do you have hope of reaching the most essential needs of your nature and assessing the most deeply hidden resources. Character formation is the task set before you by Teiwaz. This rune is associated with the sun, masculine energy, the active principle. The drive for victory is very strong, especially the victory over oneself. A lifelong pursuit that requires mindfulness, determination, and readiness to undergo your transition with compassion and full responsibility.
When this rune appears in relation to a romantic attachment issue, it signifies that these relationships are timely and providential. The bonds are real and undeniable. It is the work you are meant to do together. If the issue pertains to loyalty to a cause, an idea, or a direction, the rune of the warrior advises preservance. Though at times the required variety of preservance is patience. A rune of courage and selflessness. In ancient times, Teiwaz was a glyph that warriors depicted on the shields before battle. Today, this symbol reinforces your resolve to elevate your own self to the level of self. Inverted position. Hasty or inappropriate actions are fraught with danger. Life force leaks away or is expelled. If a certain union proves to be short-lived, do not grieve. Know that the time has come for your stay in one harness. Everything related to the sphere of hope and trust is now problematic, and along with this, the correctness of your way of existence in this world is also problematic. The inverted Teiwaz requires careful examination of your motivations. Are you aiming to overcome yourself or achieve something else? Are you striving for results or are you focused on the task itself? You will find the answers to these questions within yourself, not in a message from outside. When you consult the runes, you seek counsel with yourself, acting as befits a warrior of the spirit.
Berkana, growth, rebirth, birch. Upright position. Another of the runes in the initiatory cycle, Berkana, represents a form of fertility that fosters growth, both symbolically and practically. This can be growth in the realm of worldly affairs, family matters, in the relationship between the ego and the self, or with the divine. Directing towards flowering and maturation, Berkana is related to the smooth transition of all things into new forms. Its action is gentle, penetrating, and all-encompassing. What is needed now is to carefully consider your issue, showing diligence and prudence. First, dispel any resistance, then proceed to work. In order for this to happen, you must gain inner clarity and self-control, and your motivations must be right. Any dark corners need to be cleaned out. This should be done diligently, sometimes even seeking qualified help. Restraint, patience, fairness, and generosity are required at this moment. Resistance is overcome, rectification is completed, and deemed stable. Then, thanks to steadfastness and the right approach, flowering may begin. Reversed position. Events or, more likely, character traits are hindering the process of developing new life. You may feel despondent because you're unable to take the right actions. But it is not despondency but diligence what is needed now above all. Explore what happened, your role in it, your needs, and the needs of others. Are you putting your desires ahead of the needs of others? This needs to be addressed. Uncover the truth layer by layer until you can identify all obstacles to growth in the current situation. Then penetration occurs gently, like a gentle breeze. Perhaps you will need to till the soil again to ensure growth through proper preparation.
Ehwaz, movement, progress, horse, upright position. Ehwaz represents the rune of passage and movement, changes and transition in the material sphere, relocation, new relationships, or a new stage of existence. It also signifies movement in terms of improvement or rectification of any situation. This rune corresponds approximately to the meaning of sequential development and constant progress, accompanied by the concept of gradual growth through numerous shifts and changes. This may relate to the growth of a business or the development of an idea. Relationships may need changes if they are necessary to sustain growth and support existence. When drawing the rune of movement, one of the runes of the initiatory cycle, moral efforts and preservance are required. Let your motto be the expression, everything else according to how I cultivate my nature. The symbol of this rune is the horse, indicating the inseparability of the connection between the steed and the rider. In the material culture artifacts of the Bronze Age, the horse pulling the sun across the sky was depicted. At this moment, Ehwaz indicates that you have progressed far enough to feel the degree of reliability of your position. It is time to turn towards the future, regain confidence, experiencing readiness to share the success that has come your way. Sharing success is very important. It relates to the power of the sun to sustain life and illuminate all existence with its rays. Reversed position. Movement then suddenly encountered an obstacle. Make sure that everything you do or do not do is timely. There are no missed opportunities. You simply must be aware that not all convenient circumstances, not all favorable opportunities are meant for you or available to you equally. It is possible that true success will come from just refusing to act. If you are in doubt, unsure of the need for action, consider what is timely for your nature, and remember, what is meant to be will not be missed. Mannaz, ego, direct position, starting point, I, the ego. Its element is water. At the moment, only purity and the desire for change are effective. The correct attitude towards oneself is of paramount importance, as all possible variations of proper relationships with others and the divine stem from it. Stay humble. That's the oracle's advice. Regardless of your worth, be humble, devoted, and moderate to truly find the direction of your life path. Be in the world, but not of it. However, don't be inaccessible or closed off. Don't rush to judge, and remain receptive to impulses from the divine within and outside. Strive to live an ordinary life, but move through it in an extraordinary way. Remember that much around us is transient, and focus on what remains unchanged. Nothing more is required of you at this time. This is a time of intensive development and rectification, with the latter usually preceding development. Before sowing a field, it is plowed. Before flowers bloom, a garden is cleared of weeds. Similarly, before truly singing, one must know silence. If you take the rune of ego and cut it vertically, you'll see the rune of joy and its mirror reflection. This delicate hint suggests the need to be careful. The higher self must balance the ego, no extremes. This phrase was the second written on the gates of the temple at Delphi. The first was know thyself. These are the words with which the runic alphabet begins. Reversed position. If you feel obstacles on your path, Mannaz strongly advises you to first be honest with yourself. Don't blame others for your failures, but instead, look inward. Delve into silence in search of the adversary to your development. No matter which aspect of your life is in turmoil, pause and reflect. You'll realize that external enemies are merely reflections of what you once failed or refused to acknowledge from within. Above all, don't be arrogant. Your current challenge is to overcome the inertia of past habits. In spiritual life, we are always at the very beginning of the path. Now is not the time to seek praise for successes or focus on outcomes. Instead, find satisfaction in completing tasks for their own sake. That's where the secret of gaining true experience lies. Laguz. Stream, water, that which leads. Direct position. Here operate unseen forces, forces that sustain, give shape, and connect. The attributes of this rune are water, fluidity, ebb, and flow of emotions, ups and downs in career or relationships. Laguz urges you to immerse yourself in the experience of existence itself, without the need to evaluate or understand. It signifies the satisfaction of emotional needs and the awakening of the intuitive, lunar side of your nature. As while the sun strives for differentiation, the moon draws us towards union and merging. This rune often heralds a time of purification, reassessment, transformation, and restructuring. A rune of deep knowledge, Laguz may call you to study spiritual matters in a state of readiness for self-transformation. The conditions for success now are to engage with your intuitive wisdom and to be in harmony with your own rhythms. As a rune of right relationship between ego and self, Laguz symbolizes what alchemists called conjuncio, or the sacred marriage. In fairy tales, this is the finale where the hero and heroine live happily ever after. Reversed position, a warning of overstepping and excessive efforts. Advice not to push beyond the limits of your own strength and not to act beyond the reserves of energy accumulated since the beginning of your life. A reversed Laguz often indicates an inability to draw from the source of intuitive wisdom. As a result, the intuitive side of your being may become weakened, disrupting your inner balance. The demand of this moment is to turn inward, to pay homage to the receptive side of your warrior nature. Ingus, fertility, new beginnings. Ing, hero god. This rune is akin to the lunar, intuitive part of your nature with its inclination towards harmonizing and regulating interpersonal relationships. Ingus symbolizes the universal need for empathy and compassion, the desire to be valued, and the search for like-minded individuals. Completion of endeavors is what Ingus demands. Drawing this rune may signify a time of joyful liberation, a new life, a new path. It is a rune of great power, its appearance indicating that now you have the strength to achieve completion, to gain resolution, which is the starting point of a new beginning. Completeness is of paramount, decisive importance now. Perhaps it's the right time for you to embark on a project. If so, make its realization your top priority. Perhaps something that has weighed heavily on your soul will become clear or resolved. Drawing this rune suggests that you should prepare the ground for your own liberation. Everything changes, and we cannot constantly live amid obstacles. Ingus signals your emergence from a closed state, a cocoon state. When you deal with the old and shake off its dust, you will experience relief from attention and uncertainty. There might be a demand to let go of a habit, inclination, or attachment, certain deep cultural or behavioral patterns, ways of acting that were to some extent characteristic of the ego that you have transcended. The burden of birth is always a critical, pivotal period. Movement may entail danger, but timely movement leads us away from danger. Enter the waiting room. Being another rune of the initiatory cycle, Ingus advises, prepare. If you're collected, stand firmly on your feet, have freed yourself from all sorts of unwanted influences, and are in the right mood. You're indeed ready to open yourself to the will of the heavens and await your liberation with calm confidence. Traditionally, the Ingus rune, dedicated to the sun god Ingvi, Friar, is considered solar and masculine. Othilia. Separation, retreat, inheritance. Upright position. It's a time of parting ways. The old shell must be shed, and the outlived relationships must be terminated. When this rune appears, it speaks of the need to discard the husk. As an element of the initiatory cycle, Othilia acts as a rune of radical disjunction. At this moment, the right action will be to yield and, quite possibly, retreat, knowing when and how to retreat, and having the firm resolve to see things through to the end. Since Othilia is a rune of acquisition and gain, it is associated with immovable property. However, the source of income, the inheritance you receive, may require you to part with something. Separation can be an extremely difficult task if what you are forced to part with is some aspect of your behavior, your cultural heritage. For in this case, you will have to reevaluate what you have so far proudly considered your birthright. Whether it's your attachment to your social status, to the work you do, or even to your own nature. The required division will give you the freedom to a much greater extent to become who you truly are. Reversed position. Now is not the time to dwell in the ways of old conventions, old limitations, or to look back at past authorities. Consider not only what will benefit you, but also what will benefit others, and act in accordance with the light that now shines in your life. Because perhaps you are compelled to take on the obligation to categorically abandon old ways of action. Absolute honesty is required of you. Otherwise, due to your carelessness or unwillingness to see the obvious, you may cause suffering to others and harm yourself. Adaptability and resourcefulness are the qualities to develop in this present period. And still, you must patiently await the actions of the universe. When facing this rune in a reading, remember, we act without acting, and all the most important things happen by themselves. Dagaz. Breakthrough, transformation, day. Dagaz is the last of the runes in the initiatory cycle. Drawing Dagaz often indicates a significant shift or breakthrough in the process of self-change. A complete transformation in relationships, or a 180-degree turn. For some, this transition is so radical that they are unable to continue living a normal life and following the usual path. Since the timing is right, the outcome is assured, although, from the perspective of the current situation, it may seem unpredictable. After all, in every life, there comes a moment that, when recognized and embraced, forever alters its course. So trust it without any doubts, even though this moment may require you to take a leap into the void. With this rune, your warrior spirit nature reveals itself. If the blank rune follows Dagaz, the transformation may be so great and significant that it could even herald death, the successful completion of your journey. Often, this rune also portends a major period of success and prosperity. The darkness is behind you, and dawn has arrived. However, you should not dwell on thoughts of the future or act recklessly in a new situation. The period of transformation may entail important and challenging work. Approach it with joy. Weird, the blank rune. Unknown, divine, Odin. Emptiness is the end. Emptiness is the beginning. This is the rune of universal unity. It can be seen as the steering evidence of your most immediate encounter with your true destiny, which, like the phoenix from the ashes, is reborn again and again from what we call fate. The appearance of this rune may herald death, but this death is usually symbolic and may relate to some part of your current life. Breaking free from the constraints is the most important task of the spiritual warrior, so the unknown informs you that it enters your life. This emptiness contains untapped potential. Full and empty simultaneously, this rune implies all being in its exhaustive entirety, all that can be realized. The appearance of the blank rune can surface our deepest fears. What if I fail? What if I am abandoned? Or what if I lose everything? But both our highest good and our true potential, and all our richest fantasies are contained within the emptiness of this rune. This rune requires readiness for action and the ability to take responsibility. Otherwise, how can you control what has not yet taken form? The blank rune often requires from you courage no less than what is necessary for a leap into emptiness. Its extraction is a direct test of faith. The unknown represents the path of karma, the cumulative sum of your actions and their consequences. The lessons you must draw from this life. Also, this rune teaches that your old karmic debts change and evolve as you change and evolve yourself. Nothing is predetermined. It's the creative force of the unknown that beckons us. Whenever you draw the blank rune, gather your courage, know that the work on yourself continues throughout your entire life.